In almost every country in the world, immigration is high on the political agenda. Most often, the issue is framed as a problem, and immigrants in general, and illegal immigrants in particular, are demonized as cultural and economic threats to the nation. Now, in Malaysia, the issue of illegal immigration is seen as such a problem that the country has gone to extraordinary lengths to tackle it. Here, the government has empowered a citizen army called RELA and has granted its members free rein to investigate and detain anyone they consider suspicious. And it's an army that almost anyone can join. I'm Taimur Nabili. In this edition of 101 East, we look at how Malaysia handles illegal migrant workers. Malaysia's armed forces, the Navy, the Army and the Air Force, consist of some 110,000 trained and supervised personnel. There are 90,000 police officers. The National Volunteer Force, RELA, consists of about 450,000 ordinary citizens. Training of recruits consists of a short familiarization course, and their subsequent supervision is minimal. But all the members are authorized to enter premises without a warrant, stop and search suspects without a warrant, and make arrests without a warrant, and they can bear and use firearms. Now, RELA is paid $23 for every illegal immigrant arrested, and its members are immune from any prosecution arising from their activities. Since these powers were granted some 18 months ago, RELA members have been accused of assault, theft, destruction of property and harassment. Fawzia Ibrahim reports.
It's 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning. RELA members are preparing to carry out their duty to uphold the law. Their destination, the ramshackle dormitories housing construction workers. Their mission, arrest illegal foreign workers. In the past, RELA volunteers have been accused of kicking down doors and abusing migrant workers. But tonight, there's no evidence of such mistreatment.
Hello.
The construction workers scramble for their documents to prove their legality. They're quickly rounded up and papers are checked thoroughly. Those without relevant documents are singled out. Some, hoping to escape the fate of illegal migrant workers, resort to desperate measures.
Bribe? Huh? Rasuah apa ni? Dia cuba corruption. Ni apa ni? Simpan poket duit. Lepas.
It's been a successful raid. The illegal workers are put on a bus bound for an immigration detention centre for processing and eventual deportation. The RELA volunteers believe these foreigners are to blame for the rising national crime rate. They believe these illegal workers are taking jobs away from deserving Malaysians and therefore must be arrested. And the Immigration Department is dependent on RELA's help. The department's small force of about 1,600 personnel is unable to cope with the influx of illegal migrants.
Since the start of the year, RELA has arrested 15,000 illegal migrants. If we only had the immigration police force to rely on, we would not even be able to arrest 10,000 illegal aliens in a year. So, RELA has been a major help to the Immigration Department.
The government rewards RELA with 80 Malaysian ringgit, or about $25 for every arrest.
Because of the incentives provided for, they just go all out to arrest. They are not trained to see whether documents are proper or not. Then you see refugees being arrested, those who have valid UNHCR card being arrested and re-arrested.
Human Rights Watch accuses RELA of being a vigilante force targeting foreign workers. But the Malaysian government says you shouldn't judge RELA by a few bad apples, and that RELA's law enforcement role is necessary. All that's needed, they say, is proper training for the volunteers.
The problem arises on the recruitment of RELA officers is because they take in everybody without even qualification into the job. They are not given human rights training, and we are in the process of training them that they are not above the law.
As a grassroots organization, RELA complements the local law enforcement. The government also relies on the volunteer corps to monitor sentiment on the ground.
Rela is really very important. In fact, kehebatan rela dalam konteks
Groups like Rela have always played a pivotal role in national security. Even before this, during the time of the communist insurgency, we had the Home Guard.
kita ada Home Guard.
They have always been effective. Now they've proven to me, the Immigration Department and to the public, that they are effective in cracking down on illegal migrants.
But activists are calling for Rela to be abolished. They fear the corps' actions are damaging the country's peace-loving image.
It creates a kind of xenophobia in the country through this vigilante corps. There's a very racist kind of perception developed that all migrant workers are a threat to Malaysia, and as a Malaysian I must defend my country. Now with its powers now, in future will they be the new militia? I hope not.
Well, I'm joined now in our studio by the Bar Council Chief, Ambiga Srinivasan, by the Malaysian MP for Gombak, Dr. Rahman, and by Sharmila Sekaran from the National Human Rights Society. Thank you all for joining us on the show today. Dr. Rahman, let me begin with you. Rela, as an organisation, as a body, started in the early 70s, initially as a sort of a neighbourhood watch, a contribution to local policing. It was only some 18 months ago that these new powers were given to all its members, powers to carry guns, powers to arrest people without warrants. What was the necessity of suddenly giving ordinary citizens powers that ordinarily would be kept to a police force or an army?
Thank you, Temo. You see, as you can see that the problems of illegal immigrants in this country is a real one, you know. And as you know that there are a few hundred thousands of illegal immigrants in this country, and it is a threat to the country.
But is it necessary to attack illegal immigrants or the problem of illegal immigration through this manner?
The presence of illegal immigrant, you know, affect the security and also the well-being of the people. You know? So that's how the government sees it important for the, you know, some other agency or voluntary force to help the current existing agency like the police and also the immigration to cope with this problem.
Ambiga Srinivasan, let me ask you, is this situation that we're considering really a situation of immigration, or are we really looking here at a human rights issue?
Well, you're probably looking at both, actually, Timo. If you're aware that the Malaysian Bar at our recent AGM, we passed a resolution unanimously calling for the disbanding of Rela. You see, the problem is this: if you're dealing with so-called illegal immigrants, I'm going to use the term undocumented migrants. If you deal with them after they come in, what are you doing about the entry points? What are you doing about the people who are bringing them in? What are you doing about the unscrupulous agents who are actually bringing these people in? A lot of the workers here who are deemed illegal or undocumented are people actually who have been brought in by employers and unscrupulous agents. They have been brought in on false pretenses. They assume there are legal documents. When they arrive here, they find they are not.
But,
yes.
But again, I mean, the issues that you bring up are to a large extent immigration issues. Is this an immigration problem, or should we really be addressing what the significance of Rela is from a human rights perspective?
As Ambiga said, it's both, but it must be addressed from the immigration perspective first. We also know that there are many people being trafficked into Malaysia, and these people are trafficked through the immigration checkpoints. So I think immigration must take responsibility for this.
Is immigration really quite the severe threat that some politicians would have us believe in Malaysia?
Immigration is, to some extent. Obviously, there are a lot of people who do get through immigration by unscrupulous means, and at that stage, they must be handled as human rights on a human rights perspective.
Before we go to the breakdown, let's outline the immigration problem. Now, you characterize this as a major problem for Malaysia. Just very quickly tell us why it's such a big threat to Malaysia.
Well, as you can see that what you call this illegal immigrants can affect the well-being of the people. You know, with the presence of illegal immigrants, you can see the criminal activities are increasing, and then the problems of the social ills, prostitution, the problems of also with regard to the what do you call this death, and then the snatch death is also increasing, and also problems of health.
Are all Malaysia's legal problems, criminal problems, down to immigrants?
Well, you can see that it is 75% of the prisoners are foreigners.
Does that tell you about the immigrants, or does that tell you about Malaysia's reaction to them?
Well, you see, this is also to show that the people who are committed crimes, I mean, people who are doing things which is against the law, they are mainly foreigners.
All right, we'll have to take a short break there. We'll come back and talk about the human rights and the immigration aspects of the story in just a moment. We'll continue the discussion in a couple of minutes. Do stay with us.